Vanakkam. This year, the theme of our Golu is Unique Temples of India. We know that in our country, we have multiple religions and many deities within each one of those religions. Even within Hinduism, we have different gods and goddesses and unique practices for each one of them. This year, we've tried to pick a handful of them and depict them in our Golu. The first set of temples are temples for human beings. The first temple is Karikal Ammayar temple and it's in Karikal. So Karikal Ammayar was a very big Shiva devotee, and when she went to Kailasam to meet Shivan, Kailasathila kaal padakudadante, she walks up the mountain upside down. The next temple is Agasthyar temple. This is also called Ponmalai or Podigai Malai. ஒரு வாட்டி அகஸ்தியர் அண்ட் ராவணன் had a yar competition, and the competition ஜட்ஜ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு they call Saraswati, but she comes, tells them that they both equally good, blesses them and leaves. அப்போது அங்கே இருக்கிற ஒரு mountain, the பொன்மலை, volunteers to judge the competition, and it says யாரோட இசையில் என்னோட கல்லெல்லாம் உருகிறதோ அவள் தான் they are the better musician. When Ravana begins to play, the stones shake, but nothing happens. But when Agasthyar plays, the rocks of the mountain melt. Hence, Agasthyar wins the competition. The Mangala Devi temple in Idukki is a temple for Kannagi, the lady who burnt the entire city of Madurai because of the injustice that was done to her. The Kannagi temple in Idukki is one of the very first temples for a woman who fought the injustice that was done to her all by herself without the help of a man or an army. The Ravana temple in Kakinada is one of the 6 places in India where Ravana is worshipped. It's said that the very big Shiva temple over there was built by Ravana, and anga avari puja pannirkar. In front of the temple, there is a very big Ravana statue which is worshipped until today. The Periviruthi Malanada temple in Kollam is a temple for Duryodhana. Pandavas were the last year of exile when Duryodhana goes looking for them, he reaches Kollam. Over there, the people and the Raja of that city take such good care of him that he is so happy and pleased with them. He gives them 100 acres of land. The Raja then built a temple for him in that land, and he is worshipped there till date. A fascinating thing about this land is that whatever tax is levied over it is levied in the name of Duryodhana until date. Markandeya's parents were very big Shiva Bhaktas. Ana avalku romba varshama pasakale kadayadu. When they pray to Shiva, Shiva gives them 2 options. One is that they have a child who lives a very long life but is not a very virtuous person, or they have a child who has a short ayu or a short life but is an extremely virtuous person. So they ask for a virtuous child, and hence Markandeya is born. Markandeya's curse is that he will live only 16 years. So on his 17th birthday, when Yaman comes to take him, he runs and hugs the Shivalingam. But Yama has to fulfill his duty, so he puts the rope around Markandeya along with the lingam. As soon as this happens, Shivan gets really angry, the lingam breaks open into 2, and he comes out of it and blesses Markandeya that he'll be 16 forever. Because of Markandeya's long life, a lot of 60th marriages and Sadabhishekams happen in this temple. A modern-day temple includes a shrine for Sonia Gandhi in Telangana. This temple was built by the Congress leaders of Telangana, as she was one of the major contributors to the creation of Telangana. In the Bullet Baba temple in Jodhpur, the deity is a Royal Enfield. This belonged to their Ur Talevar, and after he passed on, they believed his spirit to rest in this bike, and they worship it for a safe journey. In the Bharat Mata temple in Varanasi, the deity is a huge marble map of India that is surrounded by pictures and statues of all the freedom fighters. The next set of temples are temples for gods and goddesses which follow very unique practices. The first temple is Kal Bhairavnath temple in Varanasi. This is a Bhairavar Kovil. In the Kovilla, Umachika Prasadam is alcohol. If you visit this temple, you'll be offered locally brewed whiskey as Tirtham and it's considered disrespectful to refuse it. Next is Shahid Baba Nihal Singh Gurudwara in Jalandhar. This is a normal Gurudwara, except as an offering to God, people give toy aeroplanes to the Gurudwara. This is in the hope of getting settled abroad. The Chinese Kali temple in Kolkata is situated in the Chinese colony called Tangra. Over here, the priest is a Chinese person and the prasadam for this goddess is always fried rice, chop suey and noodles. In the Gavi Gangadhareshwara temple in Shivaganga, ghee turns into butter. இங்கே வந்து குருக்கள் கொஞ்சம் நெய் எடுத்து he will rub it on the Shivalingam and after a while it will turn into butter. The Ayram Kali temple is in Tirumalai Rayanpattinam, which is a small town in the coast of Tamil Nadu. Many years ago, இந்த ஊரோட ராஜா கனவில் அம்பாள் வந்து சொன்னாலாம், நீ வந்து நாளைக்கு கடல் கரைக்கப்போ அங்கே ஒரு பெட்டிக்குள்ளே நான் கிடப்பேன், என்னை ஒரு நாள் எடுத்து வச்சு பூஜை பண்ணிவிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் திருப்பி கடலையே விட்டுரு. The next day the Raja goes to the beach and a huge box lands at his feet. When they opened it, they found a very big Kal Vigraham of an Ambal. As Ambal had said, he did puja for one day and left her back in the ocean. Many years later, ராஜா காலம்லாம் முடிஞ்சோன்னு ஒரு ஜமீன்தாருக்கும் இதே மாதிரி கனவு வந்தது. ஆனால் அம்பாள் சொன்னால், என்னை ஒரு நாள் பூஜை பண்ணிவிட்டு கடலில் விட்டுறாத, என்னை உன் குடியை வச்சுட்டு 5 வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு வாட்டி என்னை வெளில எடுத்து பூஜை பண்ணு. அவரும் கடல் கரைக்கு போகணுன்னு அம்பாள் சொன்ன மாதிரி ஒரு பெட்டி அவரை நோக்கி முதந்து வந்தது. அந்த பெட்டியை திறந்து பார்க்கும்போது சொன்ன மாதிரி உள்ள அம்பாள் இருந்தாலும் அம்பாள் சொன்ன மாதிரி இந்த கோவிலில் வந்து 5 வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு வாட்டி இந்த அம்பாளுக்கு பூஜை நடக்கும். இந்த அம்பாள் பேர் ஆயிரம் காளி. அப்படின்னா வாட் எவர் யூ ப்ரே டு ஹர், என்ன வேண்டின்றாலும் 1000 கொடுக்கணும். லைக் புடவை சாத்தணும்னு சொன்னால் 1000 புடவை சாத்தணும், ஆர் ஏதாவது வேண்டின்றா கூட 1000 கொடுக்கணும். ஸோ ஹியர் we have 1000 ஜிலேபி, 1000 laddu and 1000 bananas. The next set of temples are temples that are very unique in terms of their architecture. The first one is Brihadishwara temple in Tanjavur or the Tanjavur Periya Kovil. In the Kovil கட்டுறதுக்கு it took 140,000 tons of granite. The round structure on top of the Gopuram, also known as the Kumbam, is carved out of a single rock that weighed 80 tons and is placed at a height of 216 meters. இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் தெரியாது how 1000 years ago people managed to lift the rock that high. Also, at any given point of time, இந்த கோபுரத்துக்கு எந்த சைட்லேருந்தும் ஷேடோ விழாது. The next temple is Veerabhadra temple in Lepakshi. This is a pretty normal temple except that இங்கே ஒரு மண்டபம் இருக்குது. அந்த மண்டபம் has 70 pillars, of which 69 are normal pillars, but the 70th pillar alone is hanging from the ceiling. There is enough gap to pass a cloth between the pillar, the base of the pillar and the ground. During British rule, a scientist said that இது வந்து டைம் போனதுனால தூக்கின்றது. During the British rule, some scientists made an experiment and tried to bring one corner of the pillar to touch the ground. As soon as that was done, the entire structure became unstable and a huge crack was formed on the ceiling, so it was removed. From this, it's proved that it was built hanging. The Stambeshwar Mahadev temple in Vadodara is a very simple mandapam with a Shivalingam and a Nandi, just that it's in the middle of the sea. This temple can be visited only during low tide by boat. During high tide, the entire mandapam goes underwater. We don't know how it was constructed or whether the sea came forward. The last set of temples are temples in which nature is worshipped or have a natural aspect to it. The first temple is the Amarnath temple, where we worship a naturally formed very big ice lingam. In the Hasanamba temple in Hasan, the deity are 3 rocks. This temple is opened only once every year. And when opened, அந்த 3 கல்லில் நேச்சுரலாக சந்தனம் ஃபார்ம் ஆயிருக்கும். When they open it, அந்த சந்தனத்தை எடுத்து எல்லாருக்கும் பிரசாதமாக கொடுத்துடுவா. ஒரு நாள் முழுக்க பூஜை முடிஞ்சோன்னே கோவில் சாத்துறதுக்கு முன்னாடி they put in some fresh பூ, a சொம்பு of water, a bowl of rice and ஒரு விளக்கில் கொஞ்சம் நெய் விட்டு ஏற்றி வச்சுடுவா. கதவை சாத்திட்டு ஒரு வருஷம் கழிச்சு when they go back, கதவை திறக்கச்சே அந்த 3 கல் மேலே சந்தனம் திருப்பி ரீஃபார்ம் ஆயிருக்கும். பூ will still be fresh. It wouldn't have withered, the water wouldn't have evaporated and the rice will still be hot. விளக்கின்னு எரிஞ்சுன்னு இருக்கும் and நெய் கொஞ்சம் கூட குறைஞ்சிருக்காது. The Panchashivan temples are 5 very big temples of Lord Shiva that are spread across Tamil Nadu. In each one of these temples, one of the 5 elements is worshipped. Hence, the worship of the Panchabhutangals happens here. The Nidhivan temple in Vrindavan is filled with lush green leaves throughout the year, even though the entire region is pretty dry. It is said that in a small house within the forest, Krishna lives till today. The trees of this region have hollow barks and are bent and twisted with each other and from some angles look like dance poses. They are believed to be Krishna's gopikas, with whom he comes out of the house during dusk and does Ras Leela with. Sometimes in the middle of the night, you can hear gungru noises or salangasatham from this forest. In Vadapalli, on the banks of river Godavari, there is a gohe. And the gohekulla ஒரு நரசிம்மர் கோவில் இருக்கு. இந்த கோவிலுக்கு வருஷம் முழுக்க பூஜை நடக்கும், except that on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of October, without any change in the dates, the river floods. There is no dam or any other man-made reason that causes the river to flood. But exactly on these 3 days, the river floods, goes into the gohe and does abhishekam for the deity. On these days, the cave is closed for worshippers. And when the water flows out, it brings along with it all the flowers and fruits of the previous day's puja. But on the 4th of October, when people go back inside, the lamp that they had lit will still be burning. The deity in the Jwalaji Mata temple in Himachal Pradesh are 7 naturally burning fires. Nobody knows the origin of these fires, and the Oud Perivar think that they have been burning since the times of their forefathers. There is no sort of fuel, oil, ghee, or any source of natural gas from beneath that keeps these fires going, yet they have been burning for decades now. The Vedagirishwara temple in Tirukalkundram is a small temple atop a hill. It is said that 2 rishis turned into kargils or eagles to protect this temple. At any given point of time, an eagle will be circling the top of the Gopuram and another eagle will be protecting the foothill of the mountain. A fascinating thing about these eagles are that they are vegetarian eagles. That is, they don't eat any sort of meat and only eat the prasadam, the Kovil prasadam that is offered to them by the Kurukal.